And for a perspective on this visit, we are joined by Ambassador Gurjeet Singh, former senior diplomat, who is joining us via video link. Ambassador Gurjeet, why is this visit important for India? And put this into context for us.
In a disrupted world, this is a sign of stability, the time-tested India-Russia partnership. I think that symbolism stands out the most. Secondly, I think India and Russia and many others would actually want a multipolar world. But since the Ukraine crisis, Russia has come closer to China, while Europe, with whom India was building a separate relationship, has become much closer to NATO. So in this bipolar world, India's search for multipolarity means that we must continue to strengthen our engagement with Russia and not let them fall totally into the arms of China. So I think these two broad strategic views determine the importance of this visit. Bilaterally, I think you are going to see a greater diversity and variety in the relationship so that the legacy ideas are now matched by more modern ideas.
Right, Ambassador Gurjeet Singh, I'll come back to you, but we'll run a story now on the time-tested relationship that you're talking about. Russia is a long-standing and time-tested partner of India since both countries raised their partnership to a strategic partnership in October of 2000. The ties have acquired a qualitatively new character. There's political, security, defense, trade, science and technology, culture and people-to-people ties as the broad areas of cooperation. Here's Mihir Makuri's report.
India and Russia share a long history of cooperation that dates back decades. Russia has been a long-standing and time-tested partner to India. Development of India-Russia relations has been a key pillar of India's foreign policy. The annual summit between the Prime Minister of India and the President of the Russian Federation is the highest institutionalized dialogue mechanism in the strategic partnership between India and Russia. India and Russia share deep historical roots, significantly strengthened by Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his tenure as Chief Minister of Gujarat. Now let's take a look at the growing ties between India and Russia. PM Modi's first visit to Russia on the 6th of November 2001 when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat. PM Modi accompanied the then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee to Moscow for India-Russia summit with President Vladimir Putin. During this visit, the then Chief Minister Modi signed a protocol pact for cooperation between Gujarat and Astrakhan. They agreed to work together in the fields of diverse sectors including trade, education, petroleum and hydrocarbon sectors, science and technology, tourism and culture. In 2006, the then Chief Minister visited Astrakhan and met the Governor Alexander Zilkin. The protocol pact for cooperation was extended for another 5 years. In 2009, he was invited to address the 4th International Energy Week and the 9th Russian Oil and Gas Week conference. Since 2014, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has placed special emphasis on strengthening India-Russia ties, boosting relations across various sectors. 60% of trade between India and Russia is now done in national currencies. Bilateral trade is set to reach an all-time high of $65.7 billion in FY 22-23. Key exports from India include pharmaceuticals, organic chemicals and iron and steel. Major commodities imported from Russia include oil, petroleum products and fertilizers. India-Russia bilateral investments surpassed the previous target of $30 billion in 2018. The revised target of $50 billion has been set for 2025. Now let's take a look at the defense ties. Biennial joint military exercises titled Indra conducted between the armed forces of India and Russia. India holds a 2+2 dialogue with Russia involving foreign and defense ministers. Indian Army has Russian tanks like T-72 and T-90. The Indian Air Force also has variants of MiG-21, Su-30 and MiG-29 aircraft in its fleet. The Russian President Vladimir Putin has always praised PM Modi's leadership. PM Modi also calls Russia a time-tested partner. This visit has taken the ties of the two countries to a new high. Mihir Makuri's report, DD India.
Let's turn once again to Ambassador Gurjeet Singh, who is with us. Ambassador Singh, defense ministers, the NSAs, other ministers, the EAM and the foreign minister, they keep meeting regularly. So, I mean, has this maintained the momentum of the relationship, even though this particular summit is taking place, for the first time since 2019?
When I headed the division dealing with Russia, at that time, besides the summit, there was the Intergovernmental Commission, which was basically at the level of foreign minister, and then there was the defense ministers' dialogue. But the sheer volume and variety of engagement now and the frequency with which it takes place, not waiting for formal engagement but on the sidelines of major meetings and the like, gives you the impression that the India relationship with Russia is extremely vibrant. And I think that is where the difference comes. We still have that confidence of the past and we are linking it to a more confident outlook to the future.
We are also joined by Ksenia Kondrativa, who's a senior journalist, the India editor of RTV, who's joining us now. Ms. Kondrativa, thank you for being with us. How is this visit actually being viewed in Moscow?
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. There is a lot of excitement in Russia, and I've been covering bilateral relations since 2011. And I think, at least from Russian point of view, there never has been so much attention to what India does, what India says, and how India grows as it is today. So first of all, the relationship has taken really forward, at least on the economic side, because for the past 2 years, we've seen a surge in trade. It has happened mainly due to trade in hydrocarbons and crude oil, which is very important for India to sustain high level digits of GDP growth. But a lot of other areas where cooperation is happening, and we see new projects, be it manufacturing, even in the defense sector. In India, we tend to hear, especially from the foreign media outlets, that India has strayed away from Russia as its at times largest defense partner. But that's not really true. If you look at India, it has been pursuing its policy of self-sufficiency in defense and other sectors, of course, as well. But
right.
for the defense sector, it's very important. So if you look at what's happening, it's a new nature, new kind of defense cooperation. It's no more imports of different weaponry from Russia. This is a time of a joint project. This is a time of defense project under Make in India initiative, and they are happening. Just 2 days back, Russia's Rosneft has announced a new venture which was not in public before. So I think we have to look at what's happening in India's defense sector and what India's approach to defense is, to really understand what's happening,
Right.
on that side.
So, Ms. Kondrativa, also, if we look at the people-to-people ties, has the relationship been affected, by Russia's military operations in Ukraine? Have, people coming to India from Russia come down, the numbers, and vice versa also?
I personally haven't seen any decrease in the relationship, but let me know that India's diaspora in Russia and vice versa, Russia's diaspora in India has been more or less constant, and it dates back to a lot to the previous decades of our relationship. It has not really been growing, although I see a bit more Russian people going and settling down in India. A lot of them are entrepreneurs, because India has really become a bit better in terms of doing business. So there are people who are going to, let's say, Bangalore, which is an IT capital, and setting up their IT startups. In Russia, there have been people like a new blood, we can say so, in the diaspora, but it's not growing exponentially like Indians in the Middle East or even the US. That's why when we saw today Prime Minister Modi's delegation coming to the hotel here just opposite Kremlin, we've seen a lot of Indians in the streets, and like we would want to see thousands of them probably, and not just hundreds. So I think it's important even for the business ties to grow ahead and to deepen. It's important for people-to-people ties also to develop.
Ms. Kondrativa, how welcoming is Russia then to Indian businessmen? And, what are the areas of business cooperation that can be explored by Indian businessmen? The last visit of the Prime Minister took place in Vladivostok in the Far East. And over there looked like there was a whole area or a new area of interest for Indian businesses.
Right. See, one shouldn't forget that Russia is huge as a country. So in the Far East, there would be some opportunities in mining, in diamonds, in logistics, especially now at the time when Russia is under sanctions, and logistics is the sector to look at, even for SMEs, because they can set up their clearing agencies and customs support and whatnot. There are a lot of unexplored opportunities in IT. At some point of time, Russia and India were considered kind of competitors in the IT sector. But the more we look into it, and I've had a chance to report deeply on the sector, you see where the countries can complement each other. Now, innovations. Both Russia and India do invest in innovations, and both countries have very bright minds. It's just the, I think young Indians would look more towards the West. So this is the time when they can actually explore opportunities in Russia, because Russia is not just one country, it's Eurasia in whole. And that's a very different market, very challenging market. If you look at Russia's IT, if you look at Russia's banking, it's one of the most advanced, right. In Europe, even under sanctions, it's still, I would say, doing wonders, the IT services that are there. So there's a lot for Indian companies to do here and to explore here. Russia was placed under sanctions 2 years back, and the sanctions pressure just increases. A lot of European companies have withdrawn from the market. Right. That again opens ample opportunities for Indian companies, be it consumer goods or electronics or automobile sector, spare parts for the cars.
Right.
You can look at all these sectors.
Right. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Kasina Kondrativa. Thank you for joining us from Moscow and sharing your views on India-Russia ties.